against taking on too much debt all the time, aren't we? But could taking on the right kind actually give you more financial flexibility and freedom?
Yeah, our next guest is going to break it down and explain how debt can help create opportunities to grow your wealth. We're joined by personal finance expert Ravi Sharma. Good morning to you, Ravi. Great to see you again. Well, how many of us have grown up hearing, OK, got to pay your debts down, you've got to get the house paid off? But some viewers are wondering, what is your different perspective? Because you have an interesting one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We always get taught, like, debt is bad, all debt is bad, but there is good debt and there is bad debt. And really defining good debt is how do you attach it to assets that grow, and then the bad debt is when you're taking out debt to maybe go on a holiday that, yes, we can convince ourselves is great at the time, but unfortunately racks up a lot more debt later on for us as well.
OK, so you've got an example for us to show how not paying down all your debt straight away can work for some people. There's a young couple in their 30s who've saved up $100,000. They're looking to enter the property market and find a $650,000 house they like and put down a 10% deposit plus other costs. If they don't pay more than their scheduled repayments, how might that benefit them?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, right, if you decide that the banks are not my friends, I don't want debt at all, you can go out there, buy a place for $650,000, but you'd have to do it without the help of the bank. So who's got $650K laying around? So instead, you can go in and say, I'm putting in 10%, the bank helps me with the 90%. And that means even if you did have more than that 10% available to you, you can keep that in emergency fund, which means you can stay in the market longer. We all know that there's emergencies that kick in and there's medical emergencies. So if all of our money is tied up into that one property, now we don't have the flexibility to take care of those emergencies and, you know, immediate needs, and that unfortunately leads to a lot of people having to sell their property. So it's all about how do we stay in the market for as long as possible, and the best way to do that is to take on that debt. It gives us flexibility.
Got a nice car, can't pay for the petrol. So for people that are hesitant about taking on debt, because there's a lot of them out there, or even delaying paying it off because it sits in your stomach when you know you've got this money to pay off, what message do you have for them?
Yeah, look, I think it's, you know, one rule doesn't apply to everyone, and that's where you've got to really assess your risk appetite, understand that if you have the buffers in place, then you can go on, take that debt safely, and always keep buffers in mind. So we know that interest rates most likely will go down at some point, but if in the case it doesn't, at least you've got the backup there to allow you to stay in the market for as long as possible.
Okay, Ravi, thank you so much. Really appreciate the insight that you have. And remember too, it's important to seek independent financial advice that takes into account your personal circumstances before making any decisions.